All right, Rex, it was a big Sunday for Scotty, but it was also a big Sunday for Bryson DeChambeau, who shot 66 in the final round in South Korea and won by 2 for his third career title on LIV Golf, but his first, Rex, since fall 2023. We've seen this coming from Bryson. What does this mean now for the Beefy Bomber for the rest of 2025?
I talked about Scotty's emotion after winning in Dallas. I was a little bit surprised by Bryson's emotion winning. And like, I'm not trying to take anything away from it. Clearly, as you pointed out, it's been a minute since he'd won on that tour or any tour. And so this was going to be big for him. And I do think there was something to be said for how it all came about with him dueling his teammate, Charles Howell, coming down the stretch. There's the team element that factored into it. So I think all of those things were probably part of it. But it was more, I guess, in my mind, probably relief. If you look at his Sunday struggles, really the last few months, he had a chance to convert a 36-hole lead on LIV at Doral down in Miami. He had a chance to do it in Mexico, didn't do it there. And he had the lead with 16 holes to play at the Masters. So those things start to pile up after a while. And if you're Bryson DeChambeau and there's an incredible amount of confidence there, that still comes with, if you don't get it done time and time again, you start questioning yourself. So this was probably more of just an emotional hurdle for him to get through, to understand that, yes, I can get it done under the gun and pull off the shots that I need to. And I think, as we just sort of hinted to, the idea that I don't know how you wouldn't put him inside your top 3, maybe 4. I don't know. We can probably bat that around going into the PGA Championship, simply because of how he's played. He doesn't have much of a record when it comes to Quail Hollow. He only played the regular tour event there twice, a handful of times. He's got 2 top 10s, but when the PGA was there in 17, he finished tied for 33rd. So it is a little bit of an outlier, but I think the way he's playing and his game probably travels well to any golf course.
Yeah, you mentioned the Sunday scare. He shot 75 that day at Doral when the conditions got really difficult. Shot 75 in the final group with Roy McIlroy on a day when he needed to go out and get it. He shot even par 71 in Mexico City and got lapped by Joaquin Niemann, who's been the best player on LIV over the past couple of years. And so, yeah, it was huge validation for Bryson that his game is exactly where it should be. You look at his driving stats, Rex. Like this is the best Bryson DeChambeau's ever driven the ball in his life. And that's saying something for what he did sort of in that 2020 to 2022 range, where he was absolutely hitting the snot out of the golf ball and hitting it as straight as anybody. What I saw this past week in South Korea was really a testament to his short game. Right, DeChambeau is leading LIV golf statistics in scrambling. Like the dude obviously is an incredible driver of the golf ball. When his irons are on, he can really get it going. I think he's an underrated putter. He always has been in his career, but the shots that he can play around the green, and we saw that certainly on display at Augusta National. He's always sort of struggled with high rough, Rex, but like anytime that it is mowed tight, as some of the shots were in Korea, he has such creativity, such imagination. He uses the bounce of the leading edge of the wedges so well. Like that really stood out to me, that a guy who can swing it as hard as he does, 125, 130 miles an hour, still has a deft touch around the greens. We've known that for a long time, but I think that was sort of underscored this week in Korea. I thought this was a much needed victory, not just for Bryson, Rex, but also for LIV. Like LIV needs these guys to win tournaments. They need the Brysons. They need the Rahms. They need the Brookses. It's great to see a Joaquin Niemann. It's great to see a Carlos Ortiz who's having a great year. But they paid a boatload of money to bring these guys over from the PGA Tour. And yes, I think they've spanned out their victories since they joined the league in 2022, particularly as it relates to Bryson and Brooks. But they have not had a dominant season. You'd love to see that if you're LIV golf officials, a Bryson take hold and win 3 or 4 times during the calendar year.
Well, and if you look at it outside of the competition itself, look at it just the business model. I'm sure they're thinking to themselves, not only do we need the Brysons or the John Rahms or the Brooks to win, they need to probably win at the right places. And by that, I mean, I had an agent text me this afternoon. And can you imagine if the Nelson was going head to head with the LIV event, which it was not because of the time zone difference being in South Korea? But no disrespect to Scotty, but when you have a player who's running away from the field like that on what is a pretty mundane golf course, that's not why you're going to tune in either. It would have been an interesting comparison to put those two up against each other had they been in the same time zones. Now that they have a platform that you can compare to CBS or NBC or whatever the case may be. We haven't really gotten one of those, to be fair, to your point. When Bryson had a chance to win in Miami, that was probably going to be one of the best. I believe that was San Antonio it was up against on the PGA Tour. That was going to be one of the best comparisons I think that we had up to that point, in saying, okay, this is where the LIV product is, and this is where the PGA Tour product is. Same thing could be said about Mexico City, and both those fell flat.
But look, this was also a reminder of like, what are we doing here? Scotty's winning the Nelson on the PGA Tour, a Dallas guy. Bryson DeChambeau's winning on the other side of the world in Korea in the wee hours of the morning, a Dallas guy. Like, Bryson's at the height of his powers. Scotty's at the height of his powers. The tournament's being played in Dallas on the PGA Tour, the best and the strongest golf circuit on the planet. Like, what are we doing here? Just a reminder that this thing is as fragmented as ever.